Hey everyone, this is Bridget, and today we're going to be talking about 3 ways to know your life purpose. So let's get right into it. The first thing, and the reason why I'm making this video, is I feel a lot of people get stuck or are right on the cusp of pursuing their passion and their purpose, but it's like, is this really it? Is this the one? Should I go for it? And so I wanted to go through 3 ways so that you know that it is. The first way is, okay, this is like what your mom probably should have told you, which is that your passion, which is the expression of your purpose. So that excitement, that enthusiasm, that passion is representative, is part of a indicator of your purpose. Now that indicator also needs to match and marry with your talents and ability. All right, so sometimes like there's that mom or something that's like, you can do it, honey, but maybe you actually can't. Maybe you just don't have those inherent gifts. And so this is one of the ways that we can begin to discern and figure out if it's really our purpose. Now, of course, skills can be developed, so it's not something like that. But for instance, as an extreme example, like if you want to become a professional basketball player, but you're like 5 feet tall, it's probably not gonna happen. So it's really important to be honest with yourself. Now, the idea is that this is actually fun. Like whatever talents and natural inherent abilities that you came in with are what you're meant to utilize in your purpose. So it's not like, no, there's nothing for me. And I did a video on how to discover your purpose. So that's the prerequisite video for this, to begin to really curiously explore, like, how do I figure it even out? And it really is a fun exploration. Like, this is honestly one of my favorite subjects because it's fun. Like, we get to find out like what our soul essence and how it wants to express like in this world and in this life. So really looking at that and identifying like, what are your talents? Like, what are you inherently good at? Or what could you easily get good at, right? I mean, because some things take a lot of work and a lot of practice, but we're looking for those natural things. And so maybe even writing a list and going, okay, these are my passions. I love these things. And these are my actual talents, natural abilities, or developed skills that I can match with those, and then match which ones work together. And if there's certain ones that are your passions that you just aren't good at, it's more so something that you can just do on your own. It might not be something that you're meant to do in the world and receive abundance for, or like accolades or be of service towards. It's something that's just for you, for your own person. So that's one way to begin to know and discern what is your life purpose. Now, the second way to know if it is really your purpose is that if it doesn't feel like work. And I just spoke at Victor Odo's retreat with Aaron Doty, and he said this, and I was like, oh yeah, it's so true. It's so important to realize that it can't feel like a grind. And there's a few reasons for that. Well, one, it's just your passion. So it's something that you would want to do no matter what. Like if you weren't paid for it, if you just were left to your own devices, you would just do it anyway. So that's like a really key indicator. It's important for this purpose, this passion, to not feel like work, is because you're gonna have to self-generate this whole thing. All right, when you're not in a job, when you're not in a corporation, there's this exchange, right, in some level of selling your soul, but they keep everything pumping, you know what I mean? It's like a living organism to make sure that, say, new business comes in, that you're provided for. And so there's security, right? And that's where some of the security comes from, which is why it's hard to take this plunge. So one of the things that happens when you're living your purpose and in your passion is that you must self-generate that forever. You're your own free energy device, you know how I like to talk about that, but you self-generate your whole life. And so that pulse, that fire, that light, that passion, like, kind of really can't go out, because you gotta keep on going. And it's something that you don't even need to think about, but it just keeps on stoking within you. And that's how I feel. Like, there's moments of, downtime or tired or certain things like that, of course. But then all of a sudden my fire, my internal fire to do this right now, stokes. I'm like, ooh, and this energy is generated to continue doing it. So this is a really good way to know if this truly is your life purpose. And number 3 comes from Gary Gary Vaynerchuk, which is just kind of like classic economics, but it's also classic fulfilling your role as a puzzle piece in the world and humanity of what is needed right now. So like, is your purpose, is this expression of your passion desirable to the world? Like, do people need it, right? And that is critical. It's very important to realize, because if it's something that you're creating but no one really needs, it's not of service and it's not helpful. And so both of those things go in hand, by the way, is like, if it's of service, then there will be abundance for you to be provided for. So it's really important also to be honest about that, right? Because in our own minds and our own passions, we can kind of just be like, yes, everyone needs this. And it's like, no, everyone doesn't need a trinket to put on their tree outside that does nothing, or, you know, whatever it is. So it's important to note that. So the key to this whole point is there a need for what you do? And do you have the ability to do that? And that's where number 1 comes right back, right? Do you have the skill set? Do you have the talent able to do that? And then one of the other things that Gary Vaynerchuk says is, how difficult is it to replace you? Okay, so that would mean that it's another really good, honest, discerning factor is, how replaceable are you at that thing that you're doing? And the thing is when you're truly aligned with your purpose and your mission, you're irreplaceable, to be honest, like, because you're fulfilling your soul's role of what is needed for humanity. So there's no worry about that. And it kind of sounds like it's kind of strange to bring in like Gary Vee on this subject, because he's so business oriented. But the thing that I love about him is he's so boldly honest. And if anything, we need that honesty right now, because it helps whittle out like the wishful thinking, and it really gets us into, one, the real world, the real matrix, which we're still a part of, and also some of those same keys and concepts apply to us in the new world in which we're moving to. So if you're, say, replaceable in the old world, it's like, well, I don't care. I don't want to be a part of the old world anyways. And, you know, I don't necessarily want to either. But that is an indicator of if it would be replaceable in the new system. So in this, you can also think like, does the world need this? And it's like, well, it might not fully value it at this moment, but it is on a trajectory where it needs to value it, or people are going to need it. And so these transitionary products and services are going to be super helpful. So for instance, you're thinking about like organic clothes, because that's something I'm really into. People don't necessarily need it, but the world needs it, and it has to go in this direction to be supported. Or these green industries. Like back in the day when I was doing my college thesis, business thesis, we were only allowed to kind of analyze like corporate gasoline companies. It was not very fun. But the thing about that is that in that process, the college professor would not allow me in the exercise to invest in green energies. This was a decade ago, like less than a decade ago. And now it's actually way more viable. Like solar is way more viable than petroleum. Who would have ever thought, right? So having these really valuable like future abilities is going to be highly, highly valuable in the future. So there might be something that might not be super valuable right now, but you can feel the trajectory moving. So there's a little bit of an additional kind of bonus to you. These are the 3 ways to really know, to really begin to discern if it is truly your purpose and if this passion is worth pursuing because it's aligned with who you are. So I hope that that was helpful for you. I really suggest going and watching my other video on purpose. It has some really fun exercises that a lot of people don't talk about to get in there and identify and figure out what your purpose and your passion truly is. And if you like videos like this, please subscribe and hit the bell button so you get notifications every time I do new videos. Be sure to comment and let me know if you know your purpose or your passion, or you have questions about it below. I would be really interested and curious to hear. And be sure to go check me out on Instagram for more daily updates, and I will be back with another video soon. So I will see you then.